we got to get ourselves together, Kevin. All right, so all right, so from the top,
From the
the
top.
story,
Okay.
yeah, this is the voice, the spirit, and all the other things that Marqueeda can tell us about why she's going to be a superstar.
Well, I'm going to be a superstar. Okay, okay. So I'm coming actually. I'm transitioning from one career to the other. I've actually worked in higher education. My original plan was to become a geneticist, but I kind of got the media bug, and over the time, I did complete my degree in science, but I went to education. I kind of wanted to. Where I come from is this idea that I slowly developed this desire to connect with people. And the things I learned during college, the things I learned online, I tell people all the time about how the internet is not a luxury. It should be like a utility because there's so much I've discovered online that I did not know about just coming from my neighborhood. So I'm from Watts Compton. I know I'm an LA native. And just the exposure I got when I had like an arts internship and like media internships the first time around in college really expanded my horizons. And I kind of got bit with that bug and that desire to share that. I said, man, the walls of my world are expanding. There's all these options I didn't think about. You don't have to be just a doctor. We need doctors, we need lawyers and stuff, but that's usually what is sold to a lot of young people as the only means of success, the only thing to be successful in. And that might not fit who they are and what they're capable with. Not everybody can blow out science. I literally know people who want to be doctors because that was pressed upon them and they're not very good at it, but they are good at politics. And so I had to mentor that person just as a friend and say, hey, you should really play to your strengths because you care about people in your community. Go do that. We need more voices in that. So I feel like anything I have fought hard to learn or anything I pick up, I'm not just ready to give or teach someone else or put someone else on. I'm excited to do so, and I can run the distance doing that. And so eventually, I decided, hey, Marqueeda, take some of your own advice and kind of do these things that you're doing. This was like my side hustle gig, like doing media. I work a lot in the nerd space, technology, covering cons, teaching everyone that in some way or form they are a geek. And that's usually how I would end my interviews. I'm like, what do you geek out about? And a lot of people go, what? Geek? Nah, not me. And then you find out they're a sneakerhead. Or even if you're into hardcore rap, if there's different types of rap. And like I remember I interviewed Nas and I asked him what he geek out about. And he was like, this. And then he was like, you know what? History. I was like, see, we all have our things. So I have decided over the time of doing media that I want to do more. And so working kind of as someone who covers even something that seems on the surface playful, enjoyable, like nerd culture and technology, it's not. You get in there, you find out there's all kinds of inequalities. There's a lack of access. There's a lack of opportunity. They want to use you in your shine to get on and make whatever it is that they're selling popular with the mainstream. But once you've gotten on, where do we? I want to teach people to own what they create, and then also there's other things you can create, like getting into technology, creating your own worlds with code, or literally just owning what you create is such a big thing. So like being online, being a part of Black Twitter and stuff like that, that's pretty much what gave me the bug to say, hey, I'm going to get myself together. And then I discovered like, oh, at first I'm like, oh, I'm a host, I'm doing talent. Then I'm starting to like produce stuff. And then I realized like to change the game, we got to kind of do it up and like build that house, build that table. Stop begging people to get in on their table and what they're doing, because you come in, they'll take advantage, and then you don't have anything to show up. And I've literally had that experience like my first go around in media where I was like, I really don't have anything to show for it. So I now I want to go into you know, helping to create either studios or spaces where we get together as a team and we move together and we start to be the change we want to see in the world. So that's why I'm interested in becoming like development and programming, being the executive, and I continue to learn. I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm always interested in learning new things, because I think you should always want to be trending, and not just to be edgy, but to stay ahead of your craft, to master your craft and know your craft and stuff like that. So I think that also makes me a very good candidate to be mentored, to be in those positions. And I want to be able to do the work that I'm asking other people to do, like that too. So that's why I felt like I need to start from the ground up and like go back to school, learn all these different classes. And now I'm close to finishing my certification at Santa Monica College in digital media. Also, I did Promo Pathways, and they have a certificate for the program, and you also get one from Santa Monica in entertainment promotions and marketing. So yeah, that's the plan mostly. And because I want to go into leadership and because I want to teach, that's why I'm also in at my plans after Santa Monica is to go and pursue an MFA, because I do want to teach. I want to pass along. That's like my whole point. I want to be very successful, because I feel like that helps people listen to you. Like they're like, why should I listen to you? And so you have to win. You have to be active in the industry, in the field that you're trying to put people on to, because they're going to want to know that. You have to quantify your worth with them if they're going to give you your time in their ears, even if you are trying to uplift them. That's me pretty much.
Man, my ears are burning. I wanted to jump in so many times and ask you questions. But again, this is being recorded, so we can go back and edit. So,
Okay.
but my real goal was for Veretta to hear the things that I've heard in bits and pieces in our conversations. Veretta, do you have any questions, thus far before I flip it to you?
Are you on Clubhouse?
I am not. I'm an Android user, and so I've actually I've taken the step. I'm probably going to just purchase like an old iPhone.
Don't do it. Don't do
Why?
it. It's a ploy. It's
really.
It is. I mean, Apple got enough market share already.
Well,
okay?
but what it was for me, because I don't typically jump on trends. Like I knew about Clubhouse when it first dropped, because I have like journalist friends, and because I've been doing journalism. And so I knew about it very early on. And at first I'm like, so what is it? And it's like, well, if podcast and Twitter had a baby, bam, and I was like, oh, okay, and like, what are they talking about on there? So when it comes to joining things, I'm like, what is it worth? And so what changed for me and why I considered saying, okay, maybe I'll go and get me some Apple tag, because I have 0 Apple tag. Something happened in college the first time around, and I was like, never again, forget Apple. The code of Apple is dead to me. But that's another story. Pretty much what happened was I was starting to get people reach out about opportunities. And they're like, man, if only you was on Clubhouse. And I said, that got my attention, because Twitter's like that. You say it's podcast and Twitter together had a baby, right? Man, the number of opportunities I've got just by like following the right people, and then like, hey, I got this job, or like I was thinking about this thing. I'm like, hey, either hey, I will shoot my shot in front of everybody,
right,
or DM you. So if it's like that, especially the earlier years of Twitter, which I was a part of and on, like my whole career started that way, just because I happened to tweet. Then somebody was like, hey, I'm trying to get somebody together to do like live tweeting. I live tweet Walking Dead for coins. And that's how I got started. I was like, oh, this is a thing? People don't know this is out here? Bet. So I tweeted a lot of different shows,
right,
getting paid. And then that moved on to like, okay,
so
well, oh, go ahead, please.
They're working on the Android. Okay, so I was saying that they're working on the Android version now. And so the reason why I was asking, a lot of the things that you were saying, am I breaking up?
I can hear you, but your video's paused.
Okay.
Or stalled, I should say.
Okay, yeah, I'm in a building where the internet kind of goes in and out. So hopefully we can get through the call without me losing it. But when I
Well,
listen
maybe,
to some of the,
I'm sorry, I just wanted to suggest, like, if it's your audio's fine, it seems like it's the video, you might want to just turn off the video and it might help your connection.
okay, I'm okay with it
Okay, okay.
as long as you can.
Okay.
What I was saying is that when I listen to what you're interested in and the types of things that you're motivated by, that particular app is a medium, only one medium, right? There's lots of ways to get to where you want to go. But what I'm seeing is a couple things. One, for people who are really hungry, they're shortcutting all the other steps that they would have normally had to take to get to where they're trying to go. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there's some frauds on there. There's some people who are misrepresenting themselves. And so you definitely have to be careful, of that and vet that. But, if that's something that you're thinking about, whether you're going to get the phone or whether you're going to wait, that's definitely that you can use to get your voice out, especially if you're comfortable speaking up for yourself, you're comfortable asking questions, and it broadens the mentorship. You know what I'm saying? So you and I can be the one to more mentor. But when you get on, that app, then you get people who are mentoring you without even knowing it, so that's why I was saying it. Just tell you a little bit about me. I'm originally from Virginia. I have 2 children. Both of them are grown. Actually, they're older than you. I moved to Chicago about 25 years ago, and that's where I raised my kids. When they went to college and left, one went to the East Coast, one went to the West Coast. And so now I'm here with the one that's in the West Coast, and she's having a baby. So I'm excited about this. This will be my first grandchild. From a professional perspective, I started my own business in 2000, at the end of 2009, early 2010. And I've worked in human resource consulting since then at some capacity. And so what I do is special projects for companies. I'm the HR person or the HR advisor to people in HR who need additional assistance. And I'm as you described, a lifelong learner. I have my master's in adult education. My bachelor's is in business administration, business management, and organizational leadership. And I love volunteering. I love investing in people, especially when they're serious about their individual growth and development. One of the things I'd say about me is, I've been doing a lot of working with youth for many years, whether it's developing programs, mentoring, anything to help students focus on their goals. One of the things that I've changed my my perspective around education. So I did feel as though I'm a 4th generation college student. I felt as though college is the only way out. What I'm seeing, which is very disturbing, is how students are going to college, they're getting in tremendous debt, and they're not getting the type of jobs to pay for that debt. And so I'm definitely a little bit, my mind has changed around, you have to get a college degree, you're much more respectable, you get, big props, and, you're serious about, people are serious about you when you have your degree. I'm definitely, I have a different perspective about that, especially when I know that people can come straight out of high school, even before they get out of high school, and start a business and grind and learn and use, YouTube and other resources, from the internet and other free resources that you get from colleges that will help you and be beneficial to you without having the debt. And so I'm always a proponent of people working for, some of these larger corporations where they do actually pay for their education. I fortunately received a scholarship when I was in high school to go to, and I went to an HBCU, Hampton. And for my master's, my company paid for the master's degree.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, as you continue to pursue what your education and what your career goals look like, think about, how you can do it without having, the debt and being able to utilize the resources available to you. One of the things that I recently learned when I was on a Clubhouse in a room, I was listening to people talk about what they did with their Pell Grants. And one of the guys said, I bought a house with I invested, right? And so people are being smart around, how they're using grant money. And I think for me, it's utilizing all the resources that are available to you. So whether it's with Kevin and his organization, whether it's with, like I said, going to YouTube or any place that you can find information that you're constantly learning, but you're building upon it. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I that was pretty thorough. Like anything I had thought of, you kind of knocked out. I was very interested in who you are and why you're mentoring, and voila.
Wow. Well, hey, so
Mhm.
let me make the
Yeah,
connection.
no, I'm excited. So when Kevin,
What
I'm
I
sorry,
wanted
were you
what I
saying
wanted to do,
something?
guys, is just to make sure I establish why I made this Zoom call today. Um, there is a process that I've been using to make the mentee mentor connection more organic. Um, and I'm still willing to do it on a case by case basis, but I want to get better, more scientific, if you will, on making sure that whatever I do is something that's measured, something I can learn from, and how to really get better at making the match something that works for not only the people who are going to be engaged in the process of getting something out of this experience, but really more importantly, how can you guys become better at the next person that you're going to impact? Um, I'd like to think that Marqueeda, based on what I've heard, um, I'd like to make sure she's the superstar mentor. So how does a mentee become a mentor is a big deal. And I'm still being mentored, even though, you know, I'm ancient. I think we're all lifelong learners. You learn until you stop breathing. At least I like to think that, most people are open to that. But what I have
Ideally.
got, yeah, what I've got to get better at right now is putting you through um, my process is Dakar Foundation so that we can really establish what we're doing, why we're doing it, and more importantly, what are the outcomes that we can imagine with the time we have together. Um, I think for a semester, I look at the academic environment as a frame for how I think I'm going to be successful in convincing people to give me more students to work with because I love this. This is what I was born to do, is to try and impact people through everything mentorship. So I've learned the best thing to do is to look at the frame as semester to semester, not being after school, not being during the break, not being, kind of in the margins, but being literally in the classroom as much as possible so that I'm not conflicting with the academic experience. I'm really embellishing it in ways where I can. And so I like to think of myself as a transparent overlay to what you're learning with Professor Shaw and any other of the faculty and administrators you're working with. And so that there's got to be some better alignment between what I do and what you're currently taking in terms of curriculum and all other things that you're having to do to get through to get your certifications, degrees, and whatever. So that's a lot of work to do to try to make sure that all these people are satisfied. But that's what we got to do, in my mind, in order to showcase that we can get penetration into the classrooms and into these educational institutions. So with that being said, the first thing that I wanted to bring up was the application, the mentorship questionnaire survey that Veretta created. So Veretta, if you can you tell me why that application and what can we do to use that as a tool to start the process of learning more about Marqueda's needs and more importantly, not just her needs, but her vision for success.
Yeah, so it's basically just an introductory, and this is one that we would give to everyone in the program. One, we're definitely looking for, your thoughts, your goals, your vision, what you're interested in. And it's with that information that we can build and customize a program that works directly for you, that's in line with what's going on with the car. And so it's several questions in there. There's right, a short essay. There's also a place for you to include any links, your social media, and that type of thing. So the way that I look at working with people, first of all, is everything that I do is a suggestion, right? I don't give legal advice. I don't give, I'm not an attorney. I'm not, somebody who comes in as an authority. I am a partner. I am someone who is partnering with you to be successful, right? And so in order to start that process, we have to understand what your goals are. And so as you complete the application, I'll be able to say where you are with your thought process. And I've done some exercises in the past to help people to come with a more mature thought. If that's, if that's what we identify, oops, I really don't know what I'm thinking right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, in your case, it looks like you have a very clear vision. And so for me, the next steps is going to be, how do we move to that, idea to implementation, right? And how do we establish some SMART goals around it? And how do we hold each of us accountable to maintain our relationship, and the mentoring process of being available for each other, connecting, staying connected, that kind of thing on a regular basis. And so the application just gives me an idea of your initial interest. And then as we get to know each other more, we can build on that.
Great. Marqueeda, any questions about the, and have you had a chance to open up the application I sent you?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions about how to start filling in the
No, I
blanks?
mean, I just got it, but it's pretty straightforward in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Anything that you think could be added to the application who helps us get a better 360 degrees of you?
No, I actually at first I was like, you want people to write it and then you want them to like give this video of it. And I think those are like two different sets of skill sets. And so even if they're saying the same thing, I feel like you would get like different information out of it. And like either they're going to be consistent or you might be able to expose where they're trying to say what they think you want to hear. Because pretty much the question, that's how I feel like the question is kind of set up, where it's asking you almost something that's like close or adjacent to each other. And then that way it gives you opportunity either to show that you're consistent and you've thought about these things and that's kind of who you are. So that constant message is going to come out whether you're writing it or I'm giving you a 2-minute video of me speaking about it. So no, I wouldn't want you to add extra to it because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? And give yourself too much material to go through. But you're for 2 paragraphs, you're asking them to be concise. And that's something I personally struggle with, but I can see that because if you only want me to write 2 paragraphs, but you want me to give you a good feel of who I am, and I'm about something, then I'm going to need to be concise. So there's quite a few skill sets that I see in the design of the application that if successfully completed, then it means you have those skills. So yeah.
Okay.
I
Great.
agree, and we intentionally put that together so that we could identify where people are the strongest, where they need some support. And, you know, in this space of mentoring and coaching, there is no one right answer, right?
Right.
You know, I hear from people all the time where, you know, I have to be myself and I can't be nobody else and all of that. But when you have a goal to work for a Fortune 500 company, you can't be yourself. You literally have to transform and integrate into what they're looking for. And so if you want to be yourself and you see, oh, you know what, I have to express myself and have to be myself, those are the people who are most successful in entrepreneurship, in owning their own business, carving out their own way, working their own schedule, and not necessarily being influenced by a specific 9 to 5, right? And so as we go through this process, we can identify where you are in your strong suit. It's Kevin can probably attest, I'm very direct when it comes to giving feedback. Again, it's just a suggestion, but it's also a way to help people stay focused and targeted. If you look at me, I'm probably one of the most corporate people that you'll see, because that's the nature, that's what I grew up in. However, my business has been successful because I can identify with what corporations are looking for. So it's, and I'm sure you've heard of that term code switch before. We do it all the time, right? We code switch when we talk to babies. We code switch when we talk to our man. We code switch when we talk to our girlfriends. And so that same type of code switch has to be done in a corporate environment. It has to be done if I'm running a business. All of those types of, it's a way of saying I'm a chameleon and I can transform to the environment that I'm in. And so while I may wear my pants sagging while I'm in my house, when I come out of my house, I'm not just representing myself, my family, my brand, I'm representing my business and who is it that I want to do business with me, right? One of the things that I love about California is that it has allowed people to really express themselves freely. You know, as African-American women, we can wear braids, we can wear natural hair. You know, nobody's judging us because we may have a few extra pounds, you know, those types of things. This is very unique to California. Because if you go to the rest of the world, if you go somewhere like Chicago or New York, places like that, in DC, you'll see where people are trying, but they're not doing it in the same numbers that they are here in California. And so if you're doing business only in California, then that's fine. I remember when I worked for a company that had me traveling, and I have 3 markets. I had Chicago, Minneapolis, and I also had San Diego. And when I went to San Diego, I had to literally buy a whole wardrobe just for that community, because the vice president was wearing capris, shorts, they wore sneakers, they wore flip-flops. And that's a very different market than Chicago, where we literally were wearing suits. And so what I think helps people to become successful is the ability to transform into the environment. Unless you have your own business and people are paying you to be uniquely you, to me, that's helped me to be successful. So
Great. And I had a question, Marqueeda, when you mentioned in your kind of vision statement about this house that you want to build. Do you remember that statement?
Yes.
Referring to the house?
Yes.
Describe that house. I mean, you know, how many rooms does it have? What is it? Is it Shea Marqueeda? I mean, what is this house that you want to build?
It's a pretty large house, and I feel like I had to like humble myself on some of, not the end goal, but where I'm going to start with that goal, how I'm going to start. But it's a very large house. I've probably started. I wanted to be almost like the touchstone, like a fortress that starts the empire kind of thing. I really want to change things. I feel like sometimes we're inheriting problems, and I'm like, when does the buck end? Like, can we make it end? So this house, I want the house to have where it recognizes where people are. It's willing to go where people are, to say, hey, this is the option. But at the same time, it does challenge you, because sometimes it's too soft, it's too cool of approach. It's like, well, I know you're this person, I know you got this going on, we're going to try to, and it's kind of like what, I'm sorry, pronounce your name for me again.
Veretta.
Veretta. I had it,
Veretta.
and then get it, Veretta. Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. My name is Marqueeda, so I know the struggle. And some like Black women, we get each other. And it was like what you were saying, and I want to come in and build a house where I'm knocking down doors for myself and making sure I leave them open. But I want to go into a lot of different places in the industry, because I know you can't just stay still. You can't just be here. You don't want to get comfortable, because that's when they catch you slipping. So it has a lot of houses for different level, different entry points. How do we lower the entry point without telling people it's going to be easy just because the entry point has entered? I really struggle with that, because I want to encourage people to go for their dreams, but I'm not saying it's not going to be work. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Even if you're doing what you love, it's still work. And like, I remember doing like student film projects, and like people be like all juiced up because they're going to be on camera, and then they find out it's work after the 5th take, after the 10 hours start to clip me, like hour after hour doing this short project. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm like, no, this is it. This is the work. This is like, you got access, you got opportunity.
It is.
Now here's
There's so much work behind the scenes.
Right. You were like,
yeah, it's so much,
yeah.
I could, so even writing an email, sometimes it may take me 2 hours to write an email that's only one paragraph.
Because your wording is important.
Because again, you editing is huge, but capturing the people that you're speaking with and also maintaining their interest. When you think about how busy people are, how many areas of distraction that they have, you want to make sure that they are zeroed in on what you say and listening to what you're saying, right? And so that's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So Marqueeda, this house, and there was kind of a contextual question that I wanted to ask, 2 parts to the question.
Okay.
But here it is. Is there any model or any example you can give me of that house that you think that would closely resemble what it is that you're going to customize and make different than this vision you have?
I do. Now that I think about it, I do. So, I mean, Ava DuVernay, definitely, I would love to do something like that. And the idea is like, how do you scale that up? How do you include different parts of the industry? Like, there are the newer, like remote virtual streaming productions. There's some more tech side of immersive experiences. I've been covering AR, VR, and XR, which is just any kind of alternate reality based technology, for a couple of years at this point. And there are struggle points in it, why I think it hasn't connected with the masses, but I'm like, it's still something that is new enough where I'm like, if we could just get more Black people in it now, you know, we could still be at the forefront of this thing because they're struggling on how to get it to the masses. And
Right.
I hate to say it, but they need to get Black people on it. They need to get Black people
Well, they need to
involved.
get you on. They need to put you on. You're missing piece, right? There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
You're missing piece. Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, so I go to these events, I talk about
So let me
them.
ask you this though.
Go ahead.
Did you follow Issa Rae? Have you
Oh, I definitely, that
been,
was
like,
that was my
researching
second
what she
reference. I
did?
think I got a little off. That's what Ava does and what Issa does, because I feel like they have different approaches. I think Ava is much more focused on like film, and I feel like I've gone and seen Issa Rae in person speak about goals and how she came about. She's very close to, close to my age and all that stuff like that. And her idea for a network is like literally what I want to do. I kind of want to have, but I feel like they have different approaches. Like Ava gonna put it to you, she gonna say what it is and what it ain't. And Issa's like, we're knocking down the doors, so I'm gonna laugh about it so you don't see me. She's like a sneak attack, in my opinion. And I'm not against a sneak attack. Like if I can walk through the back door and take over something, less work for me, you know, or we can go through the front door like Ava does. I'm all for it. Like people, like letting people underestimate you as long as they're not blocking you, I'm fine with. You know, like underestimate me, so because when I pop up and I'm on it and I'm on top, you're gonna be like, what? And it also makes it easier for me to get in. I'm like, I'm here to use every advantage because we're not afforded as many advantages. So I'm not going to turn my nose up at an advantage. If you're underestimating me and they're making it easier for me to get in, then I ain't got a problem. My only problem is when there's blockage, when somebody's trying to stop me from getting where I want to go. And so, yeah, so those are definitely two examples. And I like how, particularly, I don't know as much about Ava's networking, but Issa, I know about more because I think I've studied her more closely. I've read her book and watched her since YouTube. And she keeps people on that she rolls up with. And you don't have to have a degree. It's like, are you willing to learn and work? Then I want to put you on. I too had to evolve away from you need a degree, you need an X, Y, and Z. I like, as somebody who has multiples, it doesn't matter as much if you're not going forth and making it do what it do with those pieces of paper, right? And so it's more important that you're hungry enough and you understand you need to continue to learn, show up, and put your best foot forward than how many degrees you have. That's what's more important, and that's what I see in her group. And so I'm sure there's plenty of people she didn't meet when she went to college that she's put in her productions, and now they're helping her run the game. That's her team, and I think that's her secret. She has a team. She's grew up. She can trust. They're going out and getting their own first look deals, and that's what I want, because everybody's win in your group is a win for the group. So yeah, that's the blueprint.
So Kevin, can we talk a little bit about next step? I'm going to have to get off.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because
this was an initial opportunity. Well, no, I was just going to say to Marqueeda, this was our initial conversation. We'll definitely have more time to continue to talk, but go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say the time that we spend here is really to try and just introduce ourselves to each other, to get the personalities connected to the names. But next steps really is to try and get the application finished so that we can start getting Veretta, who is good at analyzing data, to get that. I also want to try and find a couple of other people like you, Marqueeda, to put on a team. And the operative word is collaboration. Do you have any issues with collaborating with other people who may not be superstars? They may be superstars or rock stars.
No, that's like my superpower. I don't really get into that. I was like, everybody's got their part to play. Everyone's important. If you don't have all those different people, then you can't make it happen. Like, I'm definitely part of the group that, like, this new thing with PAs, like, pay a PA, because they actually help your production get it together. Without them, it's much harder to make that
Go
production
ahead.
happen.
Go
So
ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so
All right. Well, so that's the next step, is to get that application completed as soon as possible.
okay.
I'm looking for, again, other personalities to fill out the team. The team will be working.
Does she have people that she's in class with? Does she have people that she's in class with that she wants to recommend to your program?
Well, all my classes right now, I don't know people in these
Yeah, it's all
classes.
online. It's all virtual.
Yeah, it's been online like the last time. Yeah, it's been a while.
But yeah, I mean, I've done virtual training before, so I didn't know where you.
Well, that's still a good question, Marqueeda. So, you know, with our last experience we had with the panel, the UCLA thing, there were 12 people that I got email and cell phone numbers for, which was quite unusual. Do any of those people that, you know, I hate to put you on the spot, but any of those people that were even like on the Zoom after the panel, are these people that you forged any kind of rapport with? You know, without having
Unfortunately, no, I don't know any of those individuals. The people I would know better is when I was taking class in person, and that was Promo Pathways people. But I actually,
Are you still in contact with any of the Promo Pathway people?
Yeah, I am, and I talk to them, and now I can ask them, but they stay pretty busy. Like they went on, and a lot of them have jobs and stuff like that. So I would have to see if anyone's available. Like my cohort is pretty bombs. They're pretty successful people,
right?
And I really enjoyed my time there. But I can keep an eye out because I do have one class with Professor Shaw that has groups, and so it allows you to actually meet and talk to people, and so that's just started, and so there's already a few people that I think are outliers in the few groups I've been, because she changes the groups every time. And so yeah, if somebody were to come onto my radar, like she just started that though, so I said that would be my opportunity to meet people. But that's the first in the year and some change now at this point that we've been online, that I've had the opportunity to really get to know people face to face and like talk to them and stuff. But a lot of times, because of the virtual way that classes work virtually, you don't really get a feel for anybody.
Okay. Well, next
steps, the reason why I was saying is because I've done virtual. I got my master's in a virtual and in person. And so we did, we, had to collaborate, right, in small teams. And, so I didn't know where in the semester, how you guys are interacting with each other.
Right. Well, Santa Monica only started like on the 16th of February. So, we're just now getting into our groups. But out of all the classes I have, this is the only class that has that grouping together. Like one other class has it, but it's more like volunteer, and a lot of people I guess signed up for that particular class together. I was not able to get into a group just yet because everybody's like, oh no, I know this person from when we had classes in person, and that's who I'm going to get in a group with. I'm like, try somebody new. But I'm still working on that. I'm still seeing if I'm need, because it's a producer's class, so we're breaking down scripts. So I'm still seeing if I can get matched with someone.
So next step application, last step, and I want you, if you can, to tell me, based on the little you know about myself, Dakar, and any of the stuff you've seen or heard, what do you hope to get out of this experience from me? If you can, just, wish for the stars. Shoot for the stars.
Well, what I have been seeing is I like the opportunity for the idea that you want someone to grow beyond to just getting a job. You kind of want to push people towards leadership roles. I think people aren't even asking themselves, how far I can go. They're just looking to get in. And I'm a little past just wanting to get in. I want to get in and learn the lay of the land so I can run it and level up and reach higher levels within the media industry. So I feel that what I can get from this is like something that is more intermediate to advanced. Like now we've
Right.
given you the 101. It's time, to go to graduate level with it, and like, let's start putting you in the driver's seat. And that's what I'm looking to get greater access to.
Wow, that's great. Well, Veretta, any questions, suggestions, or comments before we break?
No, I would, so I will use the survey as my trigger to know when we are gonna meet again. And so I know Kevin has a very aggressive timeline in trying to get this to work. But I'm one of those that I like for the people I'm working with to take the leadership, right? And, follow through on their part. And then I can follow through after that.
Okay. All right. Final word is thank you again for the time and the energy, and let's make it happen. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You do the
Bye-bye.
same.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.